Hi everyone, this is Tom with the LEC preview of this week. We are heading into the second week of the playoffs of the LEC Summer Split, and unlike last week where I did an episode together with Laure, this one will be just me talking again, so it's gonna be a bit shorter as well, probably. And yeah, let's go into the series that are gonna be played. We start on Friday with the match between Mad Lions and Shokan Fear in the lower bracket of the Summer Split Playoffs. And this is a do or die scenario for both teams, because if either one loses, they're out of the playoffs altogether, no longer in contention for the Summer Split Playoff and the Summer Split Championship title, but they also will not have a chance anymore to go to Worlds, whereas the winner of the series directly goes to Worlds as, at minimum, the 4th seed of the region. So between Shokan Fear and Mad Lions, obviously last week Shokan Fear had the much better result, going 3-0 against SK Gaming. Mad Lions going down 3-1 against G2. But this is going to be a bit different, because I think against SK Gaming, Shokan Fear did not really have much of an opponent, and Mad Lions did face probably the best team in the league at the moment overall. So what is it going to come down to? I think a big factor in this series is going to be the mid lane, because for Shokan Fear, Abadaga has been amazing the past few weeks, not just in the playoffs did he look well, but also in the regular splits, people calling him Faker Daga, and that's not without a reason. Whereas for Mad Lions, Humanoids against G2 in particular did not have a great series overall. Teleporting in, I think that was the most memorable one, where he just teleported into the middle of G2 and just died. But he did not have a good series overall, which is a shame, because at the start of the Summer Split, he definitely did help Mad Lions overall and was one of the best mid laners in the LEC. But now he has fallen off, and I think that's going to be a big pressure point for Mad Lions to find some sort of stabilization, because if you have the mid-jungle duo of Gilius and Abadaga, who perhaps are the best performing players on Shokan Fear at the moment, then how are you going to defend against that being Mad Lions? And I think it's also a problem for the Mad Lions that while Shadow is a good jungler and did not have as bad of a series as Humanoid did last weekend, there is a problem with his champion pool at the moment, where you can see his Lee Sin being played, okay, but what if it's banned? He played Lilia against G2 and had one game where he looked really good on it, but I think it's easier to target him in the jungle than it is to target Gilius, who has played, like, he played Sejuani, but also obviously the Kazakhs and the Lee Sin, so I think he's a little more varied when it comes to his champion. So back to that mid-jungle duo, I think that's going to be a big pressure point for Mad Lions. Now, they do have, obviously, a good team behind them to back it up, and hopefully the struggles that they faced during D2 do not carry over to the match against Shokan Fear for them. But I am actually inclined to favor Shokan Fear, even though Mad Lions against G2, I would say, apart from game 1 where they got absolutely stomped, they did look decent, at least. Obviously they also won a game, so they showed some resilience. I'm not sure if they're going to be innovative enough against Shokan Fear to make it happen, and I think for Shokan Fear, while maybe innovation is not their strong suit or not something they can pride themselves on, there are a few areas where I think they have a bit of a larger champion pool. I think Odoamne can play almost everything in the top lane. He's an incredibly seasoned top laner, while Orome, not a bad top laner overall. I think Odoamne has, over the course of the Summer Split, played consistently better than Odoamne has overall, but when it comes to this veteran status in the LEC, you cannot deny Odoamne's proficiency, and also given the fact that Odoamne was, for example, the guy to take his team by the hand, walking him through the SK role swap last week, I think that there is going to be some problem. Now, where Mad Lions does have a big benefit, is pretty important role in this meta, where everything is about controlling the dragons, is in the bot lane, where I think Karzi and Kaiser are definitely a duo with a higher skill cap than Neon and Dreams are. Like, Kaiser obviously one of the best support players in the LEC at the moment, voted as the first in the All-Pro team. And Karzi, just a very talented AD carry, not his best split, especially towards the later weeks, but not a bad player either. Whereas Neon and Dreams have been definitely more of a support to their team. So that is where I think Matthiesen can find an edge, finding to play through that bot lane and punching that really hard. But when it comes to the mid lane, I could see Matthiesen struggle really hard. And when it comes to the jungle, it depends. Maybe Shadow can pull out some tricks. We've seen him play an Ivern, for example, not the most exciting champion to watch, but he has a champion pool maybe that we haven't seen yet. So I hope they can make it work. I definitely do. Overall, if I have to give a prediction, I would still... I'm gonna go on a limb and say like that Schalke 04 continues with the miracle run. It is the most difficult match for me to predict over the course of the weekend. So it's gonna be a super exciting match to watch, but I just don't know. I just don't know. But if I have to give the edge, well, Schalke 04 is on a winning streak. They're looking good. So let's give it to them. Then on the second day, on Saturday, we have the Clash of Titans. It's G2 versus Fnatic. And yeah, Fnatic is back. As I said in my recap video, they looked coherent, they looked strong. I think they knew exactly how to approach the game against Rogue, which they executed incredibly well. Selfmade is playing carry junglers with the Evelynn, for example, and that is definitely something he can do. Nemesis played Lucian well. So overall, I think Fnatic is looking incredibly good. But I still think that G2 took it a step further. And this team, especially Caps, who played out of his mind yet again last weekend, is just playing so incredibly well. It's hard for me to see how any mid laner in the LEC could even get close to that performance. And but it's not just him, right? We saw Wunder in the top lane absolutely crazy on the Nico. We saw Perks in the bot lane stepping up again and playing as we had hoped to. I wouldn't say like they are at that god tier level quite yet, but it's not far from it. And I don't think any team in the LEC comes very close to it. So while I do think Fnatic came much better prepared than I ever had expected them to against Rogue, I still think that G2 they have so many flex picks. They can draft towards the bot lane, they can draft towards mid, they can draft towards the top lane, they can throw it all around. You know, they could pick a Lucian and you have no idea where it goes. They can pull out Nico and who knows where it's gonna go. You know, that's such a big advantage they have and Fnatic doesn't. Plus that on an individual level, they have been looking better, not just last week, but towards the end of the regular split as well, that I'm gonna give this overall to G2. And I actually think that this is going to be the most dominant match in the LEC this weekend. I think G2 is going to 3-0 Fnatic. And again, I'm very glad that we see Fnatic back in shape somewhat, you know, like finding their form and knowing what to do better. But I just think G2 is on another level. Then finally, to close off the weekend, we have Rogue against whoever is going to win between Matthiesen and Schalke 04. Now, do I think this matters a lot? I honestly don't think so, because I have been incredibly disappointed by Rogue last weekend, going 0-3 against Fnatic and looking scrambled, not knowing what to do now. Perhaps the fact that they are going to Worlds and have that slot secured is something that weighs in, and they maybe are taking it a bit more easy, which if so, I guess fair game, you know, but you still should want to prove yourself on this stage and at least take a couple of games of your opponents. So let's say they face Schalke 04. I think that in that situation, they just have, you know, Rogue has shown so far that they can play one strategy, and Schalke 04 hasn't. They have played a few strategies, and with their players swapping between various champions, whereas Rogue, when you see Larson, he on the mid lane like played Azir 3 times in a row. We also know he plays Orianna, you know, and stuff like that. So and Corki, sure, you can play that, but you have Abadaga who also dives in, who can play that, but also Zoe and also plays an Akali well. So again, I think that whoever Rogue faces, they will lose against. If it's Shogun of Fear, I think maybe they'll win a game. And if it's Mad Lions, it's going to be... I think they have a chance at winning 2 games, because Mad Lions overall, I think, is not as... Yeah, it's difficult for me to quantify and explain how it feels. But when you look at Mad Lions play and compare that to that of Rogue, I think it's much more structured for Rogue to be able to counter Mad Lions. If they play against Schalke, I think Schalke can switch gears very quickly and push back unexpectedly, whereas I think Mad Lions has a more consistent approach to the game, which is working in their favor when they execute it well. But I think against a team like Rogue, that is very much focused on being stable, slowly scaling, and making it to the late game and then automatically winning the game, I think that is where it could actually bite them. That it could bite Mad Lions, that Rogue has maybe not as diverse, and because we saw Mad Lions against G2, and they just didn't have really a good read on the meta, as also Kaiser Humanoid has already said in an interview with me, that it was just very difficult for them to know what to play. Now, they have had a week of practice, but so have Rogue. So, hypothetically, if Rogue on Sunday, this is face off against Shogun of Fear, I think it's going to be a 3-1 for Shogun of Fear. And if it's against Mad Lions, I think it's going to be a 3-2 for the Mad Lions. Which means that, recapping this, that we also obviously have the 4th team going to Worlds. By my predictions, that would be Shogun of Fear. So we would be sending Rogue, G2, Fnatic, and Shogun of Fear to Worlds this year. And can't say I'm very unhappy with that. I think Rogue overall, especially, has the most to prove from those teams at Worlds. Prove that they can stand up against those bigger teams. You know, they could very well be seeded into the play-ins if depending on how they perform from playoffs in the playoffs from here on out. But yeah, I think they would have the most to prove. But we'll get to that in another video where I'll be looking ahead at Worlds. For now, if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more content.